Welcome to my channel. I'm Ashley, and today's class is gentle yoga for sore and stiff bodies. So you can expect a whole body stretch and release in this practice today. What you're going to need is a block or something to substitute and a blanket or something to substitute. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Feel free to close your eyes or gaze at a point out in front of you, and just take a moment here to drop into yourself, into the moment, maybe connecting with your breath, noticing how you're feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Then take a full breath in. As you exhale, let it out with a sigh. And gently open your eyes. Let's begin on all fours, hands and knees. Begin with a few rounds of cat and cow. Start by rounding your spine, bringing your tailbone through toward your head and your head toward your chest. On your inhale, reverse the movement. Lift your hips, lift your sternum forward and up, back bend shape. Lengthen the front side of your body. Back and forth between those two positions at your own pace with your breath. After a few rounds, feel free to swing your hips, shoulders, head, and neck more organically, just meaning in whatever way feels good, whatever way your body wisdom wants you to. Come back to neutral. Curl your toes under. Make sure your hands, fingers are spread wide. Lift your knees up. Feel free to keep your knees bent, feet hip distance, or straighten your legs and reach your heels toward the floor, thighs back toward the wall behind you. Even lift your upper arm bones away from the floor so your armpits lift. Then pull your ribs toward your spine, tailbone toward your heels, but allow a slight curve in your lower back. You can let your head drop. Maybe shake your head yes or no a few times, releasing tension in your neck and jaw. Sideways dog. Come to your outer right foot and your inner left foot, keeping your hips high. Swing your hips slightly to your right. Push through your inner and outer feet so you're trying to plant the soles of your feet into the floor. Lengthen from your hips to your armpits. Switch to the other side, outer left foot, inner right foot. Come back to center. Bring your knees and ankles together. Keep your toes curled under as you lower your knees as close to your toes as you can. Then you can either stay here if this is good enough of a stretch on your feet, or walk your hands all the way back and sit up on your heels. Interlace your fingers in front of your heart, and then take the backs of your hands on top of your head. Keep clamping your fingers. Pull your elbows away from each other. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze toward each other, and maybe straighten your arms. Push through your palms as you rotate your upper inner arms back and wide. Keep the sides of your body long. Gently move your rib cage toward your spine. Release your hands. Take your hands to the floor, shoulder distance, under your shoulders, and turn your hands toward backwards. They can go anywhere along the way toward backwards, so your thumbs point out, fingers point back. The closer your knees are to your hands, the less intense the stretch, and the worse the stretch, or the more intense the stretch if you take your knees further back. Keep your spine straight, move your ribs back, and then maybe lift your chin a little bit. You can either stay here or round your spine like cat pose. Intensify the stretch. Push more through your palms. Take deep breaths. Come back to neutral in your spine. Turn your hands back around. Keep the tops of your feet down. Squeeze your knees and ankles in. Have a seat on your feet. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other. Do or don't straighten your arms. Get to where you can get. You can either stay upright or round your spine without lifting your hips. And then either take your forehead to your knees or to the floor in front of your knees. Move your shoulders away from the floor, reaching up through your knuckles. Keeping your torso and head where they're at. Bend your elbows, and then release your hands. Take your thumb and index finger and then the rest of your hands around your heels. Then keep your head close to your knees as you lift your hips. And then take the top of your head to the floor. But don't put too much weight in your head, just enough just to feel a stretch in the back of your neck. Pull your hands into your feet, feet into your hands, rabbit pose. Squeeze your inner heels toward each other. Lift your shoulders away from your ears. Slowly lower your hips. Take your hands next to your ears, shoulders back, lift your chin, and sit up. Come into downward facing dog. Stretch it out for a couple breaths. Step your right foot outside your right hand for dog lunge. Take your back heel to the floor. Make sure your front shin is straight up and down so your knee is not beyond your ankle. Then walk your hands forward and to your left without taking the weight out of your feet. Tack your right hip back and down. Swing your hips a little to your left and push your back foot down and toward the right side of your mat. Feel free to keep your head in line with your arms or drop your head to the floor or toward the floor. Take your hands back to under your shoulders. And then turn your back toes in more sharply toward the front. And then square your hips over your right leg as you work your right leg towards straight. Pull your right hip back, left hip forward, Parshvottanasana. Fold heart first, head last. Face toward your shin. Feel free to walk your arms forward or arms backward. But either way, push your hands down and toward the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen. Downward dog. Dog lunge, left foot forward. Spin your right heel down. Walk your hands forward and to your right. Widen left knee to the left, swing hips to the right. Push your right foot down into the left. Parsvottanasana, walk your hands back, step your back heel or turn your back toes in a little more sharply. Square your hips over your left leg and fold heart first, head last. Feel free to walk your hands forward or back. Push hands down and forward. Round your spine over your leg. Downward dog. Take your feet about as wide as your yoga mat. Bend your knees quite a bit. Walk your hands back to your feet. Drape your torso over your thighs. Allow your spine, your torso to hang toward the floor. You can either keep your hands on the floor or grab onto your elbows. Feel free to stay still or swing side to side, rocking back and forth between your legs. Take your hands to the floor, walk back out. And step your right foot outside your right hand again. This time lower your back knee to the floor. You can either lower your forearms to the floor, or you can use a block. Take your forearms to that, or just keep your hands down. Breathe wherever you're at. Feel free to swing your hips side to side a little bit or stay still. Doing whatever feels good in your body. Half Hanuman. Take your hands back. Slide your right foot to the front midline of your mat. Lift your right toes and slide your back knee back until your knee is slightly behind your hips. Then bring your heart first, head last toward your right leg as you fold. Pull your right hip back and your left hip forward to square your hips more. Walk your hands back a few inches. Bend your right knee, plant your right foot flat, and then take it back to the outer edge of your mat. Turn your right toes out. Lift your back knee with your back toes curled under. Walk your left hand forward, and then step your back foot forward one step. Turn onto the outer edge of your back foot, so both sets of toes point to the right. You can either stay here or slide your left foot back. If you need to, you can slide your right foot back as well to get your left outer hip to the floor. Take your right arm to your right knee, palm pointing up. Watch out for shoulder coming to ear. Push your arm down and forward to keep your shoulder and ear away from each other. Keep lengthening from hips to armpits, lifting through the top of your head, pushing gently through your outer left foot. Take your right hand back to the floor. Slide your right foot back a little bit, and then slowly slide all the way down onto your left side of your arm. Bend your left elbow, place your head into your left hand. Bend your left knee, that's your straight leg, and then take your right foot into your right hand for a quad stretch, and pull your right heel to your right hip as you kick your right knee back without separating your heel and hip. Move your right shoulder back, watch out for it dropping forward. Keep your chin lifting away from your sternum. Let go of your foot. Slowly come back to downward dog. Step your left foot outside your left hand. Lower your right knee. Feel free to stay on your hands or lower your forearms to a block or the floor. Again, feel free to swing your hips side to side or be still. Half Hanuman. Lift your torso. Slide your left foot to the front midline of your mat. Lift your toes and slide your right knee back a few inches. Then fold, lengthening over your left leg. Forehead toward your knee. Squeeze your legs toward each other. Lift your torso. Bend your left knee, place your foot flat. Curl your back toes under, lift your right knee. Hop your back foot forward, right hand forward. Turn both sets of toes to the left. Lower your right hip. Left arm to left knee. Lengthen out of your hips. Push through your right arm. Keep your chin away from your chest. Slide your left foot back. Then slide your right arm forward. Make your way all the way onto your side. Head in your right hand, chin away from your sternum. Bend your right knee. And then take your left hand to your left foot. Pull your heel to your hip. And push your knee back in space. Shoulder back. Let go of your foot. Come back up to all fours. For revolved child's pose, take your big toes together, your knees a little wider than your hips. And then take your right arm up to the right. Swing your right arm under your left arm. Bring your shoulder and ear to the floor. The closer your armpit is to your left knee, the deeper the twist. Stay here or walk your left hand forward and to your right. Push through your left arm and lift your left arm bone and armpit away from your head. Push through your back of your right hand and pull it towards you. Press your left hip back to square your hips. Walk your left hand back. Push down through your left arm, reach your right arm all the way back up. Lower your hand, lift your left arm up. Twist left shoulder and ear to the floor. Walk your right hand forward into the left. Push through your right arm, pull with your left arm, lift your right armpit, tack your right hip back. Walk your right hand back, push down to reach your left arm all the way back up. Lower your hand to the floor. Take your knees and your ankles the same width apart, and then take your hands out in front of you pretty far. Push down through your hands to lift your armpits up. Now you either can do melting heart on a Hattasana with your forearms down and forehead to the floor, the yin yoga version, or you can do the more intense back bend by crawling your arms forward, taking your chest and your chin to the floor. Take your hands by your chest and then pull yourself all the way down onto your belly. Take your left arm straight out to the left so your palm is flat on the floor. Push down through your arm and then roll onto your left side. Scoot your hips slightly forward. You can stay here, lift your right leg, bend your knee, step your foot behind you. Feel free to either lower your head onto your right fist or your head all the way to the floor, whatever feels better. Slowly roll back to the floor. Take your right arm to the right, palm flat, left hand next to your chest, roll onto your right side. Scoot your hips slightly forward, lift your left leg, bend your knees, step your foot behind you. Either place your head on your left fist or on the floor and hold. The deeper the breath, the better. Slowly roll back out to your belly. Similar, slightly different. You're going to take your right arm like a saguaro cactus arm, so it's bent out at a 90-degree angle. Elbow in line with your right shoulder. Wrist in front of your elbow. Palm flat. Left hand exactly where it was before. Lean and slide your right arm to the right and then roll onto your right side. You can either stack your legs, or for this one, you can kick your back leg straight back and hold. Maybe take your ear to the floor. Just gets into a slightly different area of the armpit and pec than the other one. Slowly roll to your belly. Switch sides. Left elbow bent to the left. Slide to the left as you roll onto your left side. Stack legs or kick your leg back. Feel free to take your head to the floor. Nice active stretch. Roll back to your belly. Come up to all fours. Grab your blanket or whatever you have that's similar. You're going to unfold it and have it so that it's flat. You're going to take it to the side of your mat and then up high-ish toward the top of your mat. You can adjust this later. You're just going to step your inner left knee onto that blanket and then take the inner edge of your foot to the floor. And then you can either, if you have a hardwood floor or something like that, like mine, you can slide your leg forward. Or if you don't, what you can do is just slide your back leg back. Do either or both of those things. And then once you're done, come all the way down onto your belly, an inverted pigeon pose. Feel free to rest your head on your hands. Allow your back leg, your right leg, to turn onto its inner edge if it wants to. Slide your left knee back. Push down through your legs to lift up. And then take your blanket over to the other side. Take your right knee and inner foot to the blanket or floor. Slide your left knee back or your right leg forward or both. And come all the way down. Rest on your belly, forehead toward your hands. Slide your knee back. Push through your hands and legs. Lift up. Bring your right knee next to your left knee. And then come into a regular pigeon pose. Take your right knee behind your right wrist. Slide your left knee back. And then fold over your right leg. Feel free to use your block under your head, or just let your head hang toward the floor. Squeeze your knees gently toward each other for an active stretch. Lengthen your spine, slowly sit up. We're going to shift onto our right hip and then slide your left knee forward. Lift and lower your hip. You can move your inner right thigh flesh out to the right. And then you're just going to fold straight over your right shin for deer pose. Gets into a slightly different area of the hip than pigeon. Next inhale, slowly sit back up. Come back to all fours or down dog, switching sides. Slide your left knee forward, regular pigeon. Slide your right knee back and fold whenever you're ready, squeezing your legs gently toward each other. Slowly lengthen your spine, sit up. Lean to your left hip, slide your right knee forward. Lift your left hip, move your inner left thigh flesh to the left, and then fold directly over your left shin, maybe forehead to block. Gently lift back up. Set your prop to the side, have your block nearby, and then just come down onto your back. Place your feet so they're hip distance, point toes straight ahead, and slide your block underneath your hips so that you're in supported bridge. Recommended to have it on the medium height or the low height, whichever is better. Make sure your block is not on your low back, but it's more under your hips and sacrum. Walk your shoulders in toward your spine. You can hold the outer edges of your mat if you'd like, or just have your arms open, palms up. Stay here or stretch your legs out towards straight with your toes pointing up. Do try to keep your feet and knees pointing straight up toward the ceiling for an active stretch here. Breathe, lengthening your legs out of your hips. And pulling your navel toward your spine a little more. Lifting through your sternum. If you have tight fascia in your lower abdomen, you might feel slight pinching in your abdominal wall near the pubic bone. This is just your fascia releasing and stretching. Gently bend your knees so your feet are flat on the floor. We're going to lift up our hips and then use your hands to guide your block and take your hips at the same time over to the right. Heel toeing your feet in that direction, setting your hips back down on your block. Feel free to readjust your shoulders if they feel like they came undone. With your legs starting together, just take your left leg straight off to the right with your toes and kneecap pointing up. You can either stay here or add the arms. Keep pushing back into the floor with your shoulders, but grab your left wrist beyond your head with your right hand and pull up in the opposite direction. And let go of your wrist, bend your left knee. Take your arms back by your sides, lift your hips off the block. Use your hands to guide your block to the left as you take your hips to the left. And set your hips back down on your block. Bring your legs together. Walk your shoulders under, and then stretch your right leg out to the left. Feel free to stay here or grab your right wrist with your left hand beyond your head. Pull up. Let go of your wrist. Bend your right knee. Take your arms by your side. Lift your hips. Heel toe your feet back to center. Take the block out. And then walk your arms underneath you. Interlace your fingers for one regular bridge. Lift your hips. Lift your chin away from your chest. Then release your hands. Lower your hips to the floor. Do a few windshield wipers. Let your knees rock back and forth, side to side. Bring your legs back to center. Walk your feet and knees together. Lift up your right foot so your inner heel is on your inner left knee. And then just twist your lower half of your body to the left. You can either keep your arms where they are or take your left hand to your right thigh and gently pull it to the left as you tack your right hip away from your right shoulder. Come back up. Right foot to the floor. Do the same thing with your left leg, inner left heel to right inner knee. Twist your lower half to the right. Right hand to left thigh. Gently pull and guide your left leg to the right. Gently lift back up. Feet to the floor, hips to center. From inside your legs, grab outside your feet, happy baby. Push your feet and hands into each other, maybe rock side to side, massaging your back on the floor. You can either stick with this position or flip your hands to the inner edges of your feet so your thumbs point toward your heels. Stay here or straighten your legs. Reach your toes to or toward the floor, allowing your lower back to round. And bend your knees. Wrap your arms around your outer legs. Grab onto your hands or somewhere towards your elbows. Take a few moments here just to reflect. Notice how your body feels, how you're feeling mentally, emotionally, spiritually as well, compared to the very beginning of when you started. Rather than judging, just be curious, compassionate, and aware. Whenever you're ready, gently slide all the way out into Shavasana for your final resting posture. Allow your legs to go out straight, slightly wider than hip distance. You can wiggle around, adjust as you need, allowing your arms to come out to the side, palm space up, fully surrendering to the moment. Take a full breath in As you exhale, let it out with a long sigh. Bring gentle movements back into your body. Maybe even reach your arms over your head, reaching arms and legs in opposite directions, full body stretch. And when you're ready, gently bend your knees, roll to your side. Slowly press yourself back to a comfortable seat, just as you begin. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope your body feels so much better. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notifications so you never miss a class I post. Have a wonderful rest of your day.